Right, so the world is full of assholes, and today we're diagnosing some. Alright, first up, am I the asshole for stitching up my boyfriend's toy with the wrong thread? Controversial one to start on. The title sounds stupid because it is. Yes, me and my boyfriend James, 24 male, are both grown-ass adults, and he has a stuffed toy turtle. Already sounds kind of dismissive. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a stuffed toy. I have several. He's weirdly attached to this stupid thing, very dismissive. He keeps it in his closet and occasionally takes it out to look at it for a bit before putting it back. That's sweet and sentimental. It's slightly larger than the size of my hand, grey and pretty unremarkable. Crikey. This does not sound like it's written by someone that loves this man. Recently, I've gotten a bit suspicious of the thing, which sounds stupid, but it does look like it's meant to hide something. And whenever he picks it up, he squeezes it a little as if to check the inside. About a week ago, I couldn't take the curiosity anymore and took the thing out myself. There were stitches on the underside, and I took a little nail clipper and opened it. So instantly just doesn't trust him and has gone behind his back because she didn't trust him and destroyed his toy. I just wanted to see what was inside. It ended up just being a pen. She desecrated something that means a lot to him for a pen. I hope she feels guilty at this. And maybe that's why she's saying that it's unremarkable and like having a go at the toy, because she's like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Because she's getting defensive, because she's embarrassed, because she knows she's in the wrong. I stitched it back closed, of course, and he didn't notice. This morning he took it out again, and this time he noticed. Apparently, I used the wrong shade of grey. That was a man with attention to detail, fair play. James was furious and called me quite a few names, including saying that I was the worst person to have ever existed ever, and that he despised me. I mean, it sounds like you despise him, to be fair, but anyway, I digress. I reminded him that when I'd asked if I could touch it, he said that I could do whatever as long as I put it back right. That's so obviously not what he would have meant. The implication was obviously not that she could pull it apart, and technically she didn't put it back right anyway. He said that obviously didn't extend to cutting it open and that I was a psycho. Obviously, it is not difficult to realise that that was not the implication. He hasn't been speaking to me since and is keeping the turtle with him, even though he's pretty embarrassed of it. He's probably embarrassed of it because you made him feel embarrassed about it. So you took something that meant a lot to him, ripped it open because you have trust issues, and did so behind his back, failed to fix it, and you're asking if you're the arsehole. Obviously. I think coming into this, I was expecting a lot of like, maybe we should hear the other side of the story. Maybe if this, then you're not an arsehole. Maybe if this, you are. This is straight up arsehole. The disrespect, the trust issues, going behind his back, and then doing this post and evidently thinking that you've done nothing wrong and talking down on him. Honestly, if I was this guy, I would leave. I mean, I know he physically left, but I mean, like, I'd leave the relationship. There's no way I'd stay with this person. I hope the comments are in agreement. Okay, yes, you're the asshole. Okay, thank goodness. How did you reread the fact that you physically damaged one of your boyfriend's favorite items, which probably has immense sentimental value to him, and then didn't even have the decency to let him know this? Or, fix it. I mean, it sounds like she did try and fix it, but just wrong. But then, still, she should have apologized and been like, let me get the proper thread. Or pay to have it done properly. Not to mention, you're fixating on the stuffed animal as if it was somehow absolve you of blame. You think that's weird? Fine. Maybe a little cold-hearted, but fine. No, not fine. Can we stop shaming people for things that don't affect anyone else? What is wrong with him having a stuffed toy? That does not give you the right to dismiss him. You're both grown-ass adults. Well, guess what? Grown-ass adults don't destroy other people's property. That's a crime. So instead of berating the person you're supposed to love, and that's the other thing as well. She's supposed to love this guy. From the way she speaks, I do not believe that for a second. In the hopes of getting internet sympathy points, maybe try growing as a person. You're the asshole. I couldn't have put it better myself. All right, next. Am I the asshole for continuing to wear makeup and dress in my normal style around a friend who thinks her husband has a crush on me? Instantly thinking not the asshole, and it seems like people agree. So my 29-year-old female friend, 31 female, has told me that her husband, 35 male, has a crush on me and has recently told her that he fantasizes over me. That seems weirdly inappropriate. I mean, I guess he can't help the way he feels, but should he have told her? I mean, I'm pro open communication, but what is the benefit of that? This already makes me feel very awkward, understandably, but now she has asked if I can stop wearing makeup and wear baggy clothes around him. That is insane. First of all, I feel like the husband has done a really bad job of making sure that his wife feels secure. Like, he's obviously told her in a way that makes her feel insecure. Or perhaps also he did it in the best possible way and she's just naturally insecure herself. But either way, not OP's problem. Insecurity in their relationship has nothing to do with their third friend. Fantasies aside, of course. Alright, so we went out for dinner last night at a reasonably expensive restaurant, nice, come on, with a few others, 7 of us in total, and she texted me when I got home saying that she was angry at me for looking hot after she asked me not to wear makeup. I mean, looking hot sounds like a bit of a compliment, but I'm not going to assume anything. She's my friend and I want to do the right thing, but there's nothing I could wear that is baggy that would have suited the restaurant we were in. It was Michelin star. Another restaurant flex, but fine. My style is very conservative and I was wearing a very average dress with heels. I mean, I don't think you need to justify it saying that baggy clothes wouldn't have suited the restaurant. I think it's enough to be like, the way your husband feels about me or the way you feel about him has no bearing on the way I should dress. Anyway, I've written out several responses ranging from an apology to being quite rude, but wanted to sense check my thoughts here before I go back to her. I don't want to make life difficult for her, but what she's asking for feels unreasonable. Am I the arsehole? I mean, I was going to say not the arsehole for not dressing in a different way, but also not wanting to make life difficult for her. It's just a bonus nice thing, like even less of an arsehole. I guess friends among each other do have a responsibility to like try and make each other happier and feel more comfortable. But there are obviously also boundaries to that, and this is just way overreaching them. Oh no, while I was reading your responses, he just liked an old Instagram pic from way back, and it was a bikini pic. He is now blocked. Fantasizing is one thing, but acting on it is crazy. I don't like jumping to too many conclusions, but I feel like given the chance, he could cheat on this woman. Alright, final update. I responded with the following. Sorry it's taken me a while to reply, but I wanted to consider this properly and not react emotively. I'm sorry you feel that way, but I don't think it's fair or reasonable to ask me to change how I look because of your husband. So fair. And also really nicely put. My advice is to speak to the husband and work on your relationship, because projecting your issues onto me isn't going to help you, but it will damage our friendship. Damn. You have nothing to be insecure about. That's sweet. You're the most beautiful person inside and out I've ever met. Also sweet. I'm here for you if you want to talk through it, but ultimately I can't help it if I'm smoking hot. Just kidding. Oh, I mean, completely fair, but honestly, I'm not sure that joke will have gone down particularly well. Like being the wife, that would be a dagger in the heart. Just being like, yep, your husband fancies me, but it's not my fault I'm smoking hot. I mean, I get the wanting to make light of the situation, but I feel like that could have hurt. Oh no way, 5 minutes after I pressed send, she knocked on my door. She was already on her way with a bunch of flowers and cried and gave me a hug whilst apologising. She told me they were having problems and it was wrong of her to take it out on me. We've had a long chat and I'm going to be there to support my friend. Thank you all for your input. You've all helped so much. Wow, what a nice ending. Yeah, clearly not the arsehole, but not even close. Like, dealt with that so well. All right, here we go. We've got an apparent arsehole. Am I the arsehole for staying in a hotel whilst my friend was trapped overnight inside the airport? Okay, I'm going to need more context on this one. My best friend and I, 20 female, recently went on a trip to the UK. Come on. I actually have a UK passport since my dad is British, but my friend had to get a UK visa. We were supposed to take 2 flights, one that would arrive in France and a connecting flight that would fly to the UK. However, the second flight ended up being cancelled. The next available flight wasn't until 2 p.m. the next day, so we would have to wait around 17 hours. The passengers were allowed to stay in nearby hotels for free. However, this didn't apply to people like my friend, who wasn't legally allowed to leave the airport because she didn't have a visa for Europe. Oh, got it. Instead, she had to stay within a specific area of the airport that had these bright ceiling lights that would stay on 24/7. That is literally, how is that even legal? There was construction nearby, so there was this extremely loud drilling noise every so often too. I mean, this is borderline inhumane and degrading treatment. Forget you guys for a second, the airport manager's an arsehole. All the available seats were taken by other passengers, so my friend had to sleep on the floor. I mean, planning from the airlines and the airport is absolutely abysmal. To expect people to stay in a small area with bright ceiling lights, loud noises, and half of them sleeping on the floor is mental. Plus, earlier that day, water got spilled on our phone chargers and her phone was only on 40%. I had the option to stay with her, but I chose to go to the hotel instead. She was furious with me, accusing me of being a fake friend. She told me she was scared of being alone in a creepy unknown place and wanted me there to comfort her. And I assured her that I'll be back by the morning. I mean, I really don't know how reassuring that would be. I mean, I know she's almost certainly going to be very safe inside an airport, but still, abandoning her to that. She said I was acting selfish for not even spending one night with her, but I hadn't gotten any sleep in over 24 hours and I didn't see why the both of us had to suffer. Am I the arsehole? I mean, I feel like arsehole might just be too far of a word, but you're not a great friend for abandoning your friend, are you? Like, the difference it would make having a friend go through that with you is colossal. Knowing that your mate's like, oh no, not gonna go through that myself. I'm just gonna abandon you and have a nice cozy night in a hotel. I personally wouldn't leave my friend to go through that. But honestly, I'd be just as annoyed, if not more annoyed, at the airport or airline for that. You're the asshole 100%. I'm not sure why you would think you're not. You left your friend, a young woman, alone in an airport in a foreign place with a dying phone and no charger, and on top of that there was a loud-ass construction nearby. You are selfish. It's one night. She told you she didn't feel safe. If anything had happened and her phone died, there would have been no way for her to contact anyone. At least you would have had each other, but she had to stay at a bright airport whilst you slept comfortably because you didn't see why you both had to suffer. I hope she has better friends, because what the fuck are you? I'm mad for her, not gonna lie. Yeah, I mean, if I was a friend, I'd be like, I think a small part of me would be somewhat understanding, but I would be so gutted. I don't think angry. I think I'd just be disappointed. Like, really, you couldn't suffer with me? And those are the types of nights like you remember, like, together. Like, I have so many childhood memories of like sleeping out in the cold in like dark places, like being locked out of friends' houses and all that kind of stuff. There's one in my memory as well where like one of our quite rich friends was supposed to have us all round, but the house was completely locked, and we ended up staying in his like pool shed, and we literally got warm by like running a hot shower and like having the steam like warm up the room in this little like shower shed with us. And looking back, like, even I remember being in school the next week, like telling everyone about it and being with the group, and it was just so funny to look back on. I feel like if one of us had gotten picked up by their parents and just abandoned us, we would have been like, oh, I mean, I know you can't take all of us with you, but you're really just gonna leave us? Like, you don't want to just join in, hunker down for the night? Like, those somehow just are some of the best memories you can make, I feel. Being alone in those situations just sucks. Mate, you left your friend in hell. Just think about how good of a friend she would consider you if you had stayed. You'd be able to look back and say, God, remember that night we had to spend all night in that awful airport? Yeah, exactly. Like, do it for the memories. Like, once I stayed up all night with my mates in Barcelona airport because we missed the last train into town. We just drank beer and talked and flirted with the bar dude all night. You could have had that. That's so funny that loads of people are saying the exact same thing. It's such a common thing for people, I feel. Kind of makes it all worth it in the end, because you have so much fun looking back on it and telling the story. So yeah, I'm gonna have to side with the Democratic vote on this one. You're a selfish asshole. All right, next. Am I the asshole for not helping out when I was a guest at my in-laws? All right, already thinking asshole, and it looks like that's the consensus. I feel like when you're a guest anyway, you should at least offer. But let's find out how this played out. So I have this theory, maybe faulty, that when one hosts a dinner party, the host does everything and the guests relax. I generally pretty much agree with that. I think if I'm hosting, I don't want my guests to do anything. But I feel like if I'm a guest, I offer. And generally, I think you just assume that the host would say no, but if they need a hand, give it to them. Whenever I have guests over, I don't want them helping me set the table or doing the dishes. I want them having fun and drinking and enjoying. I agree with that bit. So I was recently at my in-laws. My mother-in-law cooked up a storm and was frantically running in and out of the kitchen with various dishes, etc. I ate, took my plate to the kitchen, rinsed it off, and then I saw my father-in-law sitting watching the game on TV, so I sat with him and chatted, sipping wine. Okay, that's quite nice. Taking the plate to the kitchen, rinsing it off. That's a good start. When we got home, my husband was really upset that I didn't help his mum bring out the dishes or clean up after the dinner. I was surprised and said, I am the guest. When she's over our house, I don't ask her. He said, but she always offers. You should have offered. That's the important thing. If she's assuming like, oh, I'm the guest, I generally don't think I have to do much. I think you still just go, anything I can help with? Especially if you clock that your mother-in-law is like frantically running about. Like, that sounds like it was pretty plain and obvious that she needed a hand. I think it would have been nice to offer. In response, I said, but I don't feel like doing housework when I'm a guest at someone's house. I don't really like cooking and usually order takeout when I have guests. Okay, saying I don't feel like it isn't really enough to shirk the responsibility of offering. My husband said, this is not some stranger, this is family. You didn't see how tired my mum was? Everyone was helping and you just sat there and drank like a spoiled princess. This is another thing. This makes it even worse that everyone was helping. I think seeing how tired the mum was, and she even described it herself that the mum was running around frantically. At that point, I think it's nice to offer. But seeing everyone else helping and sitting there with the father-in-law. I mean, the father-in-law is also an asshole for not helping, assuming he was able to. Anyway, he likes to bring up that I'm a spoiled princess because I'm an only child. And maybe I am a little spoiled. Bit of self-reflection there, fair enough. When I brought up his father and how the father was not helping, he got even angrier. Yeah, because I don't really feel like that's an excuse. I mean, just because the father wasn't helping doesn't mean that she shouldn't have offered. The father could have been in the wrong himself or unable to help, but neither of those really affect her responsibility. So I don't know, maybe I am in the wrong here, but I don't want to be handling dishes and stuff when I'm tipsy. Oh, for goodness sakes. All right, the excuses are flowing at the moment. Ages for those interested. Me and my husband, 45. mother and father-in-law both around 70. You're sitting there watching a 70-year-old lady struggle to bring dishes in and out of a kitchen and watching everyone else help and not even offer. Like, come on, of course you're being an asshole here. People asking me if my husband helped. Yes, he did, but he just needed to carry plates from table to kitchen. Women were expected to help prep the food, and I'm not great at cutting food or cooking. I really don't think it matters whether you're great at it or not. I don't think anyone's going to be like, oh, that's a bit annoying or bad. You cut the carrots wrong. Just offer to help. And you can even say that, be like, look, I'm not great at this part. And then they might just go, oh, you know what, never mind. Or, do it anyway, we don't really care. It's the assumption that you shouldn't do it because you're not great at it that's wrong. Update, thanks for the comments. I am a bit spoiled and a bit of a princess now that I realise. Can I offer to help put up some boundaries? Like, I don't like prepping food. Can I carry stuff to and from the kitchen? Of course. Like, one time my mother-in-law asked me to cut vegetables and it was very difficult. And I could hear that she was getting a little frustrated and said, okay, I will do it myself. I honestly think you're better off doing a bad job, but trying your best and having them be like, listen, don't worry about it, you're doing a crap job, let me take over, than not offering. And yes, of course, you can be like, hey, can I help? And then if they say to do stuff that you're not great at, just be like, look, I'm not great at that. And then maybe even suggest, go like, oh, if there are other tasks like bringing this in or doing this, can I do that instead? Because, you know, I'm a bit more capable. I mean, I will say, as a 45-year-old, being unable to cut vegetables is also kind of crazy. Maybe work on the skill issue. That's kind of cringe. I feel like cutting vegetables is a pretty basic life skill. All right, final update. Part of the reason for me posting this is because I got invited over to their house yesterday for a holiday and I wanted to see how to act because everyone labelled me an arsehole. Everyone labelled her an arsehole. Oh, that's cold. But arguably deserved. I made sure to ask and offer to help out. Good job. You've learned. But the mother-in-law said she didn't need any help and that I don't need to be in the kitchen. Fine, that's what people wanted for you to offer. Plus, she had at least 4 people in the kitchen helping her, and my son was helping her make some fancy beef Wellington thingy. So I guess whether or not I ask, they don't want me helping. That's not the point. The point isn't that you are actually not helping. It's whether or not I ask is the important bit. It's the willingness to help. It shows gratitude for someone else inviting you into their home and doing something for you, but like serving a lovely meal. Especially a beef Wellington. Bloody hell, they're hard to make. Anyway, but the good thing is my husband wasn't mad and was happy when we came home. So thanks all for your input. I mean, it kind of sounds like she didn't really understand the point, but she learned. So I think asshole at the time, not asshole overall. Because hey, we're human, we make mistakes. Sometimes you can be bad at picking up social norms, but if people are like, oh, actually, this is a social norm and you should do this, and you go, oh, I'm sorry, and then do it next time, that doesn't make you a bad person. You're an asshole that night, but in general, you're not an asshole. Personal progress and character development. Come on. All right, and last up, am I the arsehole for refusing to let Karen neighbor use my pool after she demanded that I follow her pool rules? I mean, I feel like it's a bit of a loaded question by already calling her a Karen, but let's find out. This one doesn't have a spoiler button either, so alright, so I, a 34-year-old male, live in a suburban neighborhood with a decent sized backyard and pool. I've always been friendly with my neighbors, including Karen, who's in her mid-40s, female, who moved in next door about a year ago. She seemed nice at first, but as time went on, she started to show her true colors. Alright, we're getting juicy. Over the summer, Karen started coming over with her kids, asking if they could use the pool. At first I didn't mind because I was usually outside anyway, and the kids seemed to enjoy it. But soon, things got weird. Karen began showing up unannounced. Okay, entitled Karen, already in the wrong there. Sometimes even when I wasn't home, not even legal, and I caught her using the pool without my permission. I mean, that's just a crime. Forget being an asshole, that's trespass. One day I came home to find Karen and several of her friends having a full-on pool party in my backyard. Do you know how insane that is? Complete with snacks, music, and pool floats. Yeah, just a straight up crime. Trespass, maybe criminal damage, and who knows what else. I confronted her and she acted like it was no big deal, saying, oh, you weren't using it, so I figured it was fine. I mean, straight up just entitlement to someone else's property is wild. And also, what if people are making the pool dirty, like spilling things in it, damaging it, chipping it? You need to add chlorine and bromine, and that stuff's expensive. And more people being in there uses it up faster. There are lots of reasons why that's not no big deal. I told her politely but firmly that she needed to ask before coming over, and that I wasn't comfortable with her just assuming that she could use the pool whenever. Karen seemed annoyed but agreed to follow the rules. I don't even think they're rules, that's just normal social norms. It's just standard common decency and respect. Then last week, she took things to a whole new level. Karen knocked on my door with a typed up list of pool rules. The entitlement is insane that she wanted me to follow. Honestly, at this point, she goes like, you can follow whatever rules you want when I invite you round, but you are not setting rules for me to follow in my own pool. Her list included things like no swimming after 5 p.m. because her kids have a strict bedtime. Okay, I would say if the kids, like straight out their bedroom window, like went onto the pool, Her requesting kindly, like maybe after 5 p.m. if you could keep it down, it would be appreciated. Fine. It's just a nice request between neighbours. Don't see anything wrong with that. But saying no swimming as if it's a rule, fuck off. No loud music when her family is outside. I mean, similar thing. If my neighbours requested that, I'd be like, completely fine. And I probably wouldn't be playing loud music anyway if my neighbours were outside in their garden anyway. But doing it as a rule, my goodness. And lastly, mandatory weekend access for her and her kids, but only for their exclusive use. That is just mental. I mean, at this point, I'm struggling to actually believe that this story is even true. Like saying, oh, we want you to agree in advance for us to be able to come over whenever we want at weekends, I can kind of imagine. But saying exclusively their use at weekends, I think even like the most high-powered Karen doesn't feel this entitled. I think this is probably true, but it's been sensationalized. Anyway, I thought she was joking at first, but she was dead serious. I laughed and told her there was no way I was following any of her rules for my pool. So valid. Karen got angry and called me selfish, saying that I was ruining the neighborhood spirit and being unfair to the kids. Now she's been spreading rumors to other neighbors that I'm a bad guy for not sharing the pool. Some of the neighbors have even said I should just let it go to avoid drama. I mean, the fact that other neighbors are saying just let it go makes me think either there's two sides to this story, or this guy lives in a neighborhood of nutcases, or yeah, it's just sensationalized. This is definitely not the full truth. But regardless, on these facts, Karen is insane. But I feel like this is insane, exactly. It's my pool and she's acting like she owns it. I'm the arsehole for refusing to let Karen and her kids use my pool after she demanded I follow her ridiculous rules. If everything you're saying is true, not the asshole at all. This is mental from the Karen. Alright, some updates. Just to let everyone know, my backyard fence doesn't have a lock. I've taken your advice and purchased one from the store. Good. And I'll be installing it tomorrow. For those suggesting I get a camera, I already have one, but it's not pointing directly at the pool, more to the fence entrance. Okay, so change it to the pool. And yeah, lock, also valid. Genuinely, if they're trespassing, I'd be like, if you do that again, I'm calling the police. Like, it's what the executive exists there for, to stop people committing crimes. Alright, another update. So I went ahead and installed a keypad lock on my backyard fence. Figured it would solve the problem without needing another awkward convo with Karen. Plus, you were all right about the liability stuff. I really don't want to deal with any potential fallout if someone gets hurt using my pool. Also valid. Of course, so Karen noticed the lock pretty much immediately. She was at my door furious, saying I was locking out their neighborhood kids and treating her family like criminals. They are criminals. They are literally committing crimes. She went on about how I was being dramatic and why couldn't I just let them use it like before. I told her straight up that I wanted some privacy and control over who was using my pool. After all, it's my backyard, not a community park. She rolled her eyes and said I was being selfish. Honestly, I feel a lot better with the lock on now. It's a bit awkward with the Karen, but I'd rather have that than her acting like my backyard is a public pool. Thanks again for the support. Yeah, it sounds like everyone in the comments is agreeing with the exact same thing. Like, he's not being an asshole for exercising his right to privacy on his own property. He has private property. He can do with it whatever he likes within the confines of the law. This is what I was saying. I can't tell if this is real because what you're describing seems too egregious to be believable, especially the part about the neighbors saying you should have let go. If it is real, then not the asshole, your pool, your rules. You're not an asshole for wanting to be in charge of your own property. The neighbors are getting Karen's version, someone else says. I guarantee they're hearing he won't let us use his pool. I have no idea why, and not the full story. So true. I'm no longer surprised with how entitled some people can be. I really wish the Karen would write a post so we could see it from her point of view. I imagine she's almost certainly in the wrong and leaving out loads of details, but it would just be really interesting. Anyway, not the asshole. Karen is a nutcase. I mean, I just looked at the comments as well, and people are saying this is almost certainly AI, which is interesting. Especially, you know what, with the way these bullet points are formatted in this weird little box. That feels like something that would come out with the coding that ChatGPT puts out. It just does seem too perfect. And I have actually heard a similar post on this Reddit before, so I strongly question the veracity of this post, but I enjoyed reading it anyway. And I hope you've enjoyed today's video. This is the first Diagnosing Assholes video I've done, so if you want to see another one, let me know. Hopefully it does well and I can turn it into a series. And if so, make sure you're subscribed so you can catch the next one. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye.